Hi, Jason. Congratulations on being part of this play. God will do the rest.
Thank you,
What
Janet.
You're welcome. What inspired you to be part of this play?
I saw this production when they were still doing it in readings a couple times before. And I honestly I just fell in love with the script. And at that time, there was only the Ferdy part, the dad part, and the son and the younger boys. So I was like, oh man, I wish there was something in this for me. And I was working with Fran De Leon, our director, on another show where I was playing a Lola. I know that they were having a really hard time trying to find an older Filipina actress to portray Babette, which is a whole nother story. But it just kind of fell into the pieces kind of fell together. I was currently doing this in Fran's other play, and she said, "Hey, would you be open to playing Babette in this production?" And I was like, absolutely. Because again, when I'd seen it in the earlier readings, I fell in love with the show and the writing and the characters. So the fact that an opportunity to be a part of it opened up was amazing.
Mhm. So, tell me more about your character, and was this influenced by anybody you know?
Oh, all the aunties that I know. I play Babette. She is the matriarch's sister, younger sister. So Maggie is celebrating her birthday. So we're all gathering together. And Babette is she's just that auntie, the one that just calls it out and I matabaka and just everything. But she's also the fabulous auntie. Like she has the designer outfits and she just looks great and she always has the expensive Gucci bags and the showy, flashy, over the top auntie. But at the heart of it is the most honest and real person with you, like so. And I think that's what I love so much about Babette. She's fun and there's all this stuff going on, but at the heart of it, we find out, at least in this play, where it's coming from or where a lot of it is coming from. So yeah.
And God will do the rest in Tagalog means bahala na ang Diyos. What do you think is this attitude coming from? And, is it a sign of one strong faith, or is it a fatalistic attitude? Why do you think it's so Filipino?
Well, I think that in itself, because in Filipino culture, religion is such a big part of it, especially Catholicism, and so it's something my mom always says is, which is very godly to me. It's like, if it's your time, it's your time. God will take you. So just even that attitude, my mom has always had that attitude, and that to me has been such a prime example of just that God will do the rest kind of thinking, where our faith is so strong, the Catholicism is so strong, the influence is so strong that we leave it in God's hands and trust and pray and hope that everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And even when it's not necessarily the way we want it to, it's God's plan, right? So there's a lot that goes into literally giving it to Jesus, giving it to God, giving it to yeah, leaving it in their hands. Yeah.
And you have done several films and TV shows. Why is it important for you to go back to theater?
uh, to tell our stories. Like I love working in TV and film, but it's so rare. I mean, it's gotten better over the years, as you know, that we're starting to see more and more representation of Filipino stories, Filipino actors. A lot more of us are being presented forward and not just as the side characters nowadays. But even still, there's just something that we get to do in theater that is it's more prominent in theater, like coming across this play telling a full story about an entire Filipino family with all these Filipino actors and characters. It's an amazing opportunity. We get to tell our stories. I personally have probably barely played Filipino in TV and film. So to get this opportunity to not just play Filipino, but like a Filipino auntie that I know, we know these characters, we know these people, and to tell stories that we can all relate to, it's such a great opportunity, and it's important, and it's honestly for me more fulfilling on the creative end. just getting to do that, getting to tell our stories, you know.
Mm-hmm. And you've worked with Fran before. How special is working with her in this play?
Oh, I love her. I love her so much. Fran, I first discovered as an actor, and I had always admired her work. I saw her in, believe it was Dog Eaters a long time ago, but just such a talented person. And when she kind of transitioned more into the writing and the directing, you know, I was already a fan, but getting to see the work that she was doing and how great it was and how the acting talent was translating into the writing and directing talent as well, obviously. Um, it's just been amazing to see that journey, and then now to get to be a part of it. The reading we were doing before was just such a wonderful experience. It was something she wrote, so there was like a personal tie to it, but she directed it as well. And it was just such a beautiful story about her Lola, is what inspired it. And again, telling stories that we know, that we are familiar with, that we all have history in. It was such an amazing experience. So for that to carry on into this has been so wonderful. And again, I'm just such a fan of Franz.
Mhm. And what is it about Nicholas Pilapil's play that really moved you?
With this one, this one in particular, Nicholas is such a talented playwright. But when I saw the earlier readings of this, not to be biased, but the Babette character really stuck out to me. Again, because she was that auntie that is always so loud and boisterous and very showy, but very curt and very, you know, just all of that that we know in those aunties. But then she gets this amazing moment where she's called out on it, you know. Basically the Connie character, who is like a daughter to her, calls her out and says, why, what about being nice, what about being kind? And she gives this response, and I remember when I saw it in the reading, I was like, oh my gosh, that's why my aunties are like that. It was something that I hadn't heard. You know, we don't get to see that side of our aunties or our titas very often, and then let alone in theater and film, you know. So it just stood out so much to me. It made her so human. It made it, you know, not just a showy, flashy character, but you got to see the heart and the root of why this auntie was the way that she was. And honest, personally, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgive all my aunties for calling me taba. Like earlier in my life, like I was like, oh my gosh, now I know where it's coming from in their head, where you know how it's justified to them. And so yeah, it just all the little things that he speaks on with these characters, you see it in your own personal life, or in my personal life at least. I'm like, I understand why this dad is that dad, and that I saw those qualities in my dad as well when he was around, and with my mom and my aunts. It's seeing the people we know that makes it so great. And Nicholas does such a wonderful job writing these characters and telling their stories. So yeah.
And since most of you are Filipino actors or of Filipino descent, how do you do the break time? Do you do karaoke or do you eat a lot of
Yeah,
food?
we it's been so busy just getting going on the show, but we my birthday was last week, so we that was our first big family gathering. We or excuse to get together after rehearsals. Uh and so yeah, we went and got dinner after. We would have done karaoke, I'm pretty sure, except that it was already late after rehearsal and we were so tired, but there's definitely going to be karaoke at some point. We're always singing in the lobby, or while we're waiting to go on stage. So there's a lot of that. And it's uh there's just there's already this familial bond that we have. A few of us have worked together before. I've done a reading with Reggie. Ellen and I have worked together years and years. We played brother and sister. We went to college together. So we have a history that makes me playing her auntie such a, like, we just have that connection already. Josette and a couple of the other actors, we've all worked in different variety, or you know, like different forums before. Rita Beth and I were in a theater company together before. So coming together for that first table read, we there was already a familial, like camaraderie and vibe with us, that it just it's fallen into that. And I think that's also so naturally Filipino, you know what I mean? Just the essence, the fun that we're having together is already so familial. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you haven't performed or portrayed a Filipino yet in your films or in your TV shows.
Yeah.
What is the solution for that in Hollywood?
Well, again, I think it's starting a little bit. You know, I think it takes producers and the and Hollywood to invest more in Filipino writers, Filipino directors, Filipino storytellers, Filipino performers, you know, and so it's, you know, from when I started back in the day, there's the fact that there's even Filipino characters on TV, uh, is already such a huge improvement. I know there's so much more that needs to be done, but we also have so many film festivals now, which feature a lot of Filipino stories and short films and full feature length films. It's great. It's great. But we need to there needs to be more. I mean, that's always the answer. And like the more we can put that forward and present some work, some notable work, that'll get us noticed. You know what I mean? Or at least establish us more as a regular thing, so that it happens regularly. You know?
Yeah. So what is your dream role in theater?
Oh my gosh, dream role in theater. It used to be Kim and Miss Saigon when I was like 17. Yeah, I love a good musical. A Filipino family musical would be amazing one day if that ever came around. I loved getting to see something like Here Lies Love, which was also a full Filipino cast, and seeing something like that was amazing. And so something in that vein where it's an entire like Filipino story and family would be amazing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's up for you after this play?
I am in a detective show, a new show on Amazon called Cross, starring Aldous Hodge and Isaiah Mustafa, and that premieres this fall on Amazon. They're all based on the James Patterson books, so it's doing really well. The Amazon's really excited for it, so I believe our premiere date is November 14th for that. Yeah.
Well, congratulations and more power to you, Jason. And we hope to see your play.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you very much. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.